So on this All Saints Day, as we remember their lives and we remember that we are a part of a kingdom that is greater than any we have ever seen or known, as we approach another election in our country, it's fitting that we turn our eyes toward John's vision in Revelation 21, a vision of a new heaven and a new earth, a place where God dwells with us, where sorrow is wiped away and where everything is made new. I want you to hear these words from Revelation 21 again. John says, "Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first earth had passed away, and there was no longer any sea." Now you might think, why in the world is John talking about the sea? Well, the sea represents chaos and disorder. That primordial chaos that we see in Genesis 1 is being referred to here. And John says when he sees a vision of the kingdom of God, the new heaven and new earth, there is no sea, there is no more chaos, there is no more brokenness. He says, "I saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride beautifully dressed for her husband. And I heard in a loud voice from the throne saying, 'Look, God's dwelling place is now among the people, and he will dwell with them. And they will be his people, and God himself will be with them. They will be his people, and he will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death or mourning or crying or pain, for this old order of things has passed away.' And he who was seated on the throne said," and I'm going to refer to the King James for just a second, "Behold, I am making everything new. Behold, I am making all things new." Then he said, "Write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true." These words are trustworthy and true. In a world filled with so many things that are untrustworthy and untrue, Christ, speaking from the throne of heaven, says these words are trustworthy and true. As you know, we're in the second week of our series, Not In It to Win It, and we're considering our witness as we move forward toward an election. And this morning, as we think about All Saints Day and what's going to happen on Tuesday, I want to share with you a little bit of what I don't know and some of what I do know. So here's what I don't know. I don't know what will happen on Tuesday when our nation goes to the polls. I don't know. Everything I've heard, everything I've read, is that this election is a toss-up. What I see all around me, though, are people who are fearful and who are anxious and who are worried about the outcome. People who are filled with anxiety about the outcome of an election that they have no control over but get to participate in, that we can't control. And to be honest with you, I don't want to be there in that anxiety. I mean, I've lived through so much. We've lived through so much anxiety and uncertainty over the course of the last 3 years that I'm tired of being in the middle of it. But the experience of these past 3 years has taught me something, a lesson that I needed to learn. What I've learned is that I don't have to dwell in the anxiety that comes from what I don't know. I'm going to say that again for you. I've learned that I don't have to dwell in the anxiety that comes from what I don't know. Instead, I can rest in the truth of what I do know. I don't have to live in the anxiety and the uncertainty. I can rest in the truth. So here's what I know, and here's what I hope that you'll take away from this morning's text. The first thing is this. What I know is that the old order of things is coming to an end. That this life, this world that is marked by brokenness and heartache and division and pain and anger and frustration, it's coming to an end. A new order will be established on earth, friends. The kingdom of God is coming on earth as it is in heaven, and this old order of things that we see all around us will cease to be. And we'll see God as He is. And we'll live in the light of eternity with our God who loves us enough to die for us, that we might have life with Him. So what I know is that this old order of things is coming to an end. I also know that God's kingdom is coming. And it's breaking into the world even here and right now. I know it because I've seen the kingdom break into the world through the ways that you have loved and lived over the course of these last few months, opening the doors of our church to those who are broken and in need, offering water to those who are thirsty and food to those who are hungry. I know that God's kingdom is breaking in because day by day I see you living faithfully, loving those who are sometimes hard to love, welcoming the stranger, healing the sick, binding up the wounded. God's kingdom is coming. Christ from the throne says these words are trustworthy and they are true, that the political order of this world will one day cease to be, that His kingdom will reign for all eternity. We might be disheartened by what we see all around us, but we can rest in the truth that Christ has conquered all and that His kingdom will reign forever. The third thing I know is that no matter what happens on Tuesday, that Christ is on the throne. And once again, His words are trustworthy and they are true. Christ is on the throne and He has conquered all of the brokenness and pain of this world. He's wiping every tear from our eyes. And He's leading us into a future that is good. John's vision of the new heaven and the new earth is a profound message of hope. So when you find yourself filled with uncertainty and anxiety, when you find yourself perhaps upset and frustrated with the order of the world around you right now, lift your eyes and catch a glimpse of God's kingdom. Put your hands to working for the sake of your neighbor, for the sake of your friends, for the sake of the family of God. Put your feet to going to carry the gospel to the lost and the hurting. And what you'll find is that in doing so, God's kingdom will become a little more real in this place. And that kingdom that John sees in a distant vision, it'll come a little bit closer. The promise of Revelation 21 speaks to not only our ultimate future with God, but how we are called to live right now. Y'all, we are citizens of heaven. As disciples of Christ, we are citizens of heaven and residents of earth. We're citizens of heaven and residents of earth. We have dual citizenship, and this dual citizenship shapes how we participate in all of life, including our public and political lives. As we remember the saints today, may we remember the values they held. Values rooted in compassion, mercy, justice, and love. These saints that we've named out loud and named in our hearts inspire us to live faithfully in every part of our lives, even in our participation as citizens of this nation. So the advice I'd leave you as we head towards Tuesday is advice that John Wesley gave his followers in a season of division in the midst of a contentious election cycle. He said, I met with those of our society who had votes in the ensuing election, and I advised them first to vote. Vote without fee or reward for the person they judged most worthy. 2, to speak no evil of the person they voted against. And 3, to take care their spirits were not sharpened against those that voted on the other side. Wesley believed that every Christian had a responsibility to faithfully live out their faith in their political life. In Wesley's advice, we find a blueprint for how to live in God's kingdom and how to live in this country. So friends, may we follow the example of Christ. May we follow the example of the saints who've gone before us. And may we, as we step into the polling place on Tuesday, lift our eyes to a kingdom that is not of this world, but is coming and will be here soon.